What's up? It's Marco, Sage of Soccer, and today I'm talking about what I'd want the US men's national team to do for the upcoming Nations League games. So, this is what I'm going to propose an idea I'd like to call Camp Croissant. We know about Camp Cupcake, where we call up the December MLS group at the end of the season. Well, how about at the end of the European season, we call up a bunch of fringe European guys who have a good chance of getting integrated in before the World Cup starts? There are two main reasons I want to do this. One, obviously, to get a better look at the European players who haven't got much of a chance, and also I really don't want the main first team of this group to continue to play bad opposition. Personally, I think this team is becoming far too accustomed to playing bad teams, and when you keep playing bad opposition over and over again, you start to build bad habits. I remember, I think it was against Costa Rica, they had switched the field in a one pinged pass, and we were just completely unprepared for it because we had gotten too used to teams that just weren't competent enough to do that. And when you get used to playing those bad level teams, bad things will happen. So I want us to hold off on playing our first team until I think it's the Uruguay and Argentina friendlies we have coming up. But before that, let's play some of the French European guys and make sure we get a look at them and see how they can do. Because I feel like there are a lot of players who haven't been called up who could possibly affect this World Cup run coming up. And they haven't got enough of a look. I think this is the time to get a look at them. And even teams in Europe are doing this. England called up a really mixed squad, gave a lot of debuts to players who could definitely positively affect the World Cup. This is things that teams are doing, and I think we should do it. So, going into guys who I'd like to call up, position by position, goalkeeper, nobody. There's no real goalkeeper I'd like to call up who could get a chance. Stefan, Horvath, Turner, even Sean Johnson, Slonina, I feel like they've all gotten enough time. Those are the only guys who I'd really like to get called into this group. It would be cool to see like a Chitaro and Dunze, Alex Borto, or whatever, but I don't feel like that's really necessary. At center back, though, we have a lot of players who I'd like to call up. Four or five, in fact, depending on if you count John Brooks or not. Because John Brooks needs to be integrated back into the team, but in my mind, he's still a regular because he's still one of our probably top five best players. So it's weird that he isn't getting called up, but John Brooks should definitely be getting a look. But in terms of the other guys, Cameron Carter-Vickers, he's a very good player. He's been doing very well in the Scottish Premier League, and he's looked good. He's probably going to be a Premier League center back at the end of next season. If not, he's definitely going to be playing in the Champions League some next year, and he looks good. I really want to get a look at this guy, see how he can do, because defensively, he's been on point. He's been winning head balls, and I want to see how he can do in our system, how he can do building the ball at the back, because I feel like he could definitely positively affect us. Similarly, I want to get Eric Palmer Brown to this camp. We got a little bit of a look at him, but I don't feel like it was enough. He's a guy who we really like with the ball at his feet. We know his ability there. But at the same time, we haven't seen him really get tested defensively. He hasn't had the best season for Troy. It took him a long time to get integrated into their squad. And he's still on the Man City loan army, so I'm not even sure if he'll end up staying there. But definitely somebody I want to get more of a look at. Next guy, weirdly enough, Mark McKenzie, because there's a reason Mark McKenzie keeps getting called in this team. And that's because he has all, like, the intangibles. Everything that you can't teach, he has. He's got the pace. He's got, well, you can teach an on-ball ability, but it hasn't been taught to a lot of us. But he's got the ability on the ball. He's the prototypical center back. Like, I really like this guy in the future. I think he could be Chris Richards' partner long-term for us. He's good with both feet as well, but at the same time, he really hasn't performed well for us. And I don't know if that's down to our system being just not accommodating him well, or maybe he just doesn't do well in the national team shirt if it's too much pressure or something. I don't think that's the case, but I feel like that has affected him a little bit, but he has done well in some high-pressure games. But I want to get another look at Mark McKenzie because he could definitely be a good guy for us going forward. And lastly, Matt Miazga, because he was in this team for a long time. He was a starter for us, but he just hasn't been playing much in Spain. But I still want to see how good he is because there's a reason why we were calling him up at like the same level as we rated him at the same as Walker Zimmerman and Aaron Long like 5 years ago, and he should have only gotten better since then. I'm not sure if he has. I mean, players regress all the time. I feel like that's been the case with Matt Miazga, but I want to give him another look. Now at fullback, there are two players I want to call up pretty easy, Joe Scally and Jonathan Gomez. Joe Scally, he is, in my opinion, our third best fullback overall. Probably our third best at both positions, or second best at right back, third best at right or left back if you count Serginho Dest playing out of position. And he needs a look because he's been doing very well in the Bundesliga. I think he's had better performances than George Bello has, even at that left back spot. And you could see the talent that this guy has. And the fact that we haven't called him in, it seems like kind of like we're making our own problem. We're saying he doesn't have enough experience, so we keep calling in guys who are worse than them because we keep giving the guys who are worse than him chances. So this is the time to get him the experience. I mean, it's a competitive game technically, and he can definitely show out this game. I really want us to get Joe Scally playing because I think he's our best backup fullback, and we're probably going to need that because this team really can't stay healthy, and I don't want to take any chances. We need our backups to be as good as they could possibly be, and Joe Scally needs a call-up. Also, Jonathan Gomez. I don't feel like he's truly ready, but at the same time, we should get him cap-tied, and we keep calling up Shaq Moore, and they're playing at the same level, and I think Jonathan Gomez has been doing better. And we actually need left backs, unlike right back, where we're pretty good. So I don't see any reason why we don't call up Jonathan Gomez and we don't give him a look. He even looked good in the friendly we played against Bosnia. There's no reason to not call in Jonathan Gomez at the moment. So, yeah, that's really the reason for that. Next, going into defensive mid, I only want to call up one, and that's Tanner Tessman. I'm actually not really sure about Johnny Cardoso. I don't feel like he'd end up being an upgrade on Kellyn Acosta at the moment, which might be a big statement, but I really haven't been impressed with him come Olympic qualifying, the friendly appearances he's had, and especially that friendly against Bosnia. I thought he did not perform well. So I feel like we've given Johnny Cardoso enough of a look. But Tanner Tessman, he's been playing pretty well in the Serie A with Venezia. And again, I just want to give him a look, see how he can do in this team, because I think he's looked pretty good. And I think he's the only guy who's got the ability to overtake Kellyn Acosta for that backup sixth spot come the World Cup. And I want somebody to overtake Kellyn Acosta because I don't feel like he's good enough. But at the moment, nobody has. But I feel like if we give Tanner Tessman that chance, he's got more on-ball ability. I don't feel like he has the defensive ability, but it's pretty close. And I really want Tanner Tessman to overtake Kellyn Acosta, and we should give him a chance. Next, at the 8 position, there really isn't anybody that I feel like could affect the World Cup in a positive way, which sounds weird, but I mean, Weston McKennie, Yunus Musa, Luca De La Torre, Gianluca Busio, even Giovanni Reyna, all playing in that 8 spot. I feel like there's nobody better than them. I really like those 4 or 5 players, depending on how you feel, and I don't really feel like there's anybody out there who should be taking that spot from them. Like, even Georgi Mihailovic, I feel like we kind of talk him up more than we should just because it's like, if we're going to call up an MLS guy, can we call up Jordy instead of Roldan? That's the idea behind it, but I don't feel like Jordy's actually, he's not better than Gianluca Busio, in my opinion, and I don't feel like he adds much to this team. So, I mean, it would be cool to see Julian Green, Dwayne Holmes, maybe one of the Tillmans, or Taylor Booth. I don't feel like it's really necessary, though, and I feel like I'm confident in the 4 8s we have at the moment. Wing is actually a similar story, where I feel good about Pulisic, Weah, Reyna, Aronson. I don't feel like anybody breaks into that group, but I can't say for certain that they're going to be healthy. And I know we could say that for everybody, but we really can't say for certain with our wing position, them being healthy come the World Cup. So I feel like we should give a couple guys some looks. And, keep in mind, I'm going to say some guys with the strikers who could also play at wing. So guys who strictly I feel like would be wingers are Conrad De La Fuente and Nicholas Giacchini. Conrad, he's looked very talented. He definitely brings a lot to this team. But there are some questions surrounding him. I feel like discipline is a bit of an issue for him at Marseille, according to reports. But at the same time, he's 19, so I don't feel like that's a long-term issue, but it's definitely something. And Nicholas Giacchini, he's also been playing regular game time in France, consistently coming off the bench for Montpellier. He's got a couple of starts. And, I feel like people don't talk about this much. He was better than Areola at the Gold Cup. Clearly better. I covered every single game there for the Gold Cup, and Nicholas Giacchini was by far better than Paul Areola, better than Roldan as well at that wing position. So should we need a backup, I would much rather have Nicholas Giacchini in the team than Paul Areola. seriously, he was better than him at the Gold Cup. I feel like we're forgetting this. Like, he was looking really good. And at the same token, when we talk about strikers, Matthew Hoppe as well. And he was not playing much come when the Gold Cup happened. He was not playing much at Schalke at all. So I know that he's not playing much at Mallorca. I could barely even remember the name because he doesn't play there. But he's been consistently on the bench, which means he's not getting frozen out of the team. He has a few substitute appearances, and he's looked good. Like, the talent has shined through. And we've proven we're perfectly fine calling up guys who aren't playing when we called up all those MLS players for the nation or for the World Cup qualifying in January. So I want to give Matthew Hoppe another look because, again, he was better than the MLS guys at the Gold Cup. Like, he looked really good. He was by far our best attacking player. And I feel like he needs another look because the talent that he has, he's got good size, very good technical ability. I love the fire that he brings to every single game. And I really feel like he would positively affect the World Cup qualifying. Not World Cup qualifying, the actual World Cup. And I want to give him a chance. Josh Sargent, another guy I want to give a look at that striker position. He can do a lot of pressing, but his goal scoring is really not there. But at the same time, nobody's goal scoring is really there. So I would have him compete with someone like a Jesus Ferreira, Ricardo Pepi, see if his pressing and his ability on the ball is better than Jesus Ferreira, if we value that more than Ricardo Pepi's hold-up. Because at the moment, it really does not look like we're going to have a striker in great form, so I want to give Josh Sargent a look. And last guy who I really want to call up is Daryl Dike. I know he's battling some injuries right now, but I have a feeling he'll be back before the end of the season, and we need to give him a look because he brings a physicality that we don't have. And I know that, when you think about that, it's like, okay, how valuable can physicality really be when, his first touch isn't that great. I feel like he's underrated speed-wise. He's actually got some great pace, but we kind of know what kind of player Daryl Dike is. Like, he's not going to add anything that we need, but at the same time, he's a matchup problem. And there's a very good chance that we will come up against a team in the World Cup that just don't have a solution for Daryl Dike. And it could very well be England. I feel like maybe a Harry Maguire could deal with him well. But at the same time, like, if they're forced to start, like, a Ben White, Daryl Dike can do harm to them. He can do harm to that Welsh team, to the Iran team. It's good to have an option like that in him. And I feel like he's got a higher ceiling than Jordan Pefok as well. But Daryl Dike, he's definitely someone we want to give a look to. If you want to hear something, there's a talk where Peter Crouch goes on about how at international level his size was just something that teams couldn't deal with, which was unlike England where they could deal with him pretty well. So maybe Daryl Dike wouldn't be that useful, but maybe against an Iran team that's sitting deep, Daryl Dike could come in, just disrupt things, and make something happen. I feel like that's a real possibility, and I want to give Daryl Dike another look. So yeah, that's what I'd call up for Camp Croissant, is what I'm calling it. What I do for the Nations League, because I feel like all these guys I mentioned could definitely help us out in the World Cup. And I want to give them all a look, because they could be a very good player for us. And yeah, that's all I really have to talk about right now. So yeah, see ya.